Positive vibes.
Yeah.
I'm like, the future is bright.
We are not going to solve this anytime.
No.
Hi, Sabah. So good to have you at Katalyst Labs for Kandid Konversations. And that's exactly what this is going to be, a candid conversation.
I am very excited. Thank you for having me.
So I wanted to go a little bit into your background. Were you born in Pakistan?
No. So I am often accused of having a fake accent. And it's like one of my things that I make fun of a lot of online because people are like, where'd you pick it up? But I'm actually born and raised in the States. I'm from Potomac, Maryland. It is a massive Pakistani Indian community there.
I think I know some of them as well.
Yeah, you for sure do. And so that's where I grew up, and very typical American Pakistani. The only back and forth was with Pakistan. I spent a little time here as a kid as well. Okay. And then I officially moved here this October will make, I think, 13 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you move to? To Karachi or?
My family's from Pindi. Okay. So very fun. Follow Pindi. Moving there at 24 with no friends is a fantastic idea. So moved there, and then I've been in Karachi now 3.5 years. I moved myself out here.
So did you work in the US or were you studying there?
So I did work. So I got a job at 18, the very American story of you're in uni and you want to buy money. You want to spend money on things your parents don't want you to spend money on, get a job. So I worked actually every Thursday through Sunday, the entire time I was in university. And it was like retail and like managing a salon for like 3 years on the front desk. And then I really wanted to work in fashion. So like I got a job as like a visual merchandiser and buyer at this like consignment vintage boutique.
What is a visual merchandiser?
So someone who makes the place look nice and like sets it up. I mean, it's a very glorified term for like somebody who got to just make things look good while she was already at work. And it was then that as in terms of like big girl jobs, those hadn't really, for some people, of course, they like make their career there. But for me, I hadn't reached career point there. But that is where I was working until I moved to Pakistan.
And then what did you start doing here?
Okay, so in Pakistan, I gave myself 6 months. Me and my sister, we moved here together. And we said, if in 6 months we got nothing going on, we got to get out of Dodge.
Okay.
On the 6-month mark, my aunt, was sitting in a salon and she overheard this woman being like, I just need some like good English writers and good English speakers and da-da-da-da. And my aunt was like, I got 2 unemployed bums at home that desperately want jobs. Like, let me introduce you. So that happened. And I started working at Hello Pakistan magazine. Right. Yeah. So this was like 2014. And I always tell people that like, for me, this was a dream come true because to be like a fat brown woman in fashion in the States, unheard of. Like, this is when Mindy Kaling became a thing, and she's not even fat. So it was like, finally, they were recognizing brown people exist. I was too late for that. And fashion in the States is very fickle, and how you can actually, it's not fickle, it's very cutthroat, and like, you got to start mad young. So for me to be able to move into a fashion magazine, I was like, great, this is a sign. And I was there for, I think, 3.5 years. I finished as their features editor, which I was very excited about. I think I was one of the youngest in the country, actually. This is back when print was still a thing. So I worked in all sorts of media.
And what was that experience like? Was there anything unusual that you learned about the fashion industry?
I could be candid at this candid conversation. Yes. I think like I grew up in like Maryland is very, as we say, like blue, liberal. Like I did not know that some sorts of biases and bigotry existed in my life. Like I was like surprised when I got to college and I was like, what do you mean that people can't do this? Or, you judge them for doing that. I had no idea. So I think being in the fashion industry, I thought it would be the most open-minded and like loving, open place for people in terms of like, no matter what your background is. And I found out that classism and hierarchy and biases will always have a place. So that was pretty surprising. But it was an amazing experience because, as we know in Pakistan, sometimes not just Pakistan, but small teams means you're wearing 600 hats and so be it, right? And so because we were such a small team, I got the opportunity to learn everything.
It's amazing.
How do you interview? How do you edit? How do you create a story? How do you make something look good? How do you make something matter? How do you make people care? And then because this was where social media started exploding as well, I got to be part of the social media team, and I take credit for ruining Pakistani social media because we were posting 7 to 8 times a day.
Oh, wow.
7 days a week. And now those are baby numbers compared to what these magazines and stuff in Pakistan do. But I literally, I remember my first fashion week after I'd taken over social media, I literally said to my, colleagues and stuff, I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, it wasn't my idea. It was my boss's. But yeah, I mean.
How has that helped you in what you've done since then?
Ooh, I think for one thing, it made me less closed-minded. I mean, this is something I've kind of tackled with my whole career is what does it mean to have a skill set and where that can take you? I think I do still come from the background of you learned this, you stick with this. And it made me understand that just because I had never, made a layout or designed a shoot didn't mean I'm not capable of doing these things.
Exactly.
You have the other skills that you can apply. But I will say it was very slow learning. I think it took my last job for me to be I can do other things I didn't even know. So yeah, I was there for 3.5 years, and then I had to quit. Because another amazing thing about fashion is all the toxic accusations are 1,000,000% true.
Wow.
And I think I had just reached a point where I was I gotta stop. My dad actually was I'll pay you to stay home. I just can't take this negative version of you anymore. And I was right. So
what did you do then?
Okay. So this is when I say I didn't know I could do things until people were by the way, you could do this. And basically I quit the job. Now I've been working since I was 18. So this is almost 10 years of nonstop working, if not more. And I was I don't need another job. I gotta quit. And then within a day, I was oh my God, I don't have a job.
Yeah, because you're used to it.
You're so used to it. And the independence of your own money, there's nothing like having ownership over how you spend your money, right? And then basically, this is in Islamabad, small circles or whatever, especially journalist circles. And I guess some woman had overheard me talking in a party about all this because I'm loud. Yeah, you're gonna have to cut me off. And she basically told the incoming bureau chief of Arab News Pakistan, hey, there was this funny girl at a party, and I think that she'd be good for your culture writing and your fashion writing. I ended up meeting Bakr Atiani, fantastic journalist. He's the bureau chief over at Arab News Pakistan, Urdu News. And he was you got the job if you want it. Now I'm saying, yeah. And then I go home and I'm news journalism? I don't know anything about this. Incredible job. I learned so much. And again, see, I didn't know that I could apply interview journalism or that sort of thing to news. And you can. And there's so many versions of news. I was there for 4 years.
That is long time.
Long time. Part of their launching team. And one of the places I'll say, I've left jobs where I'm I will burn this place to the ground. But this is one of the places where I tell any journalist, if you have the opportunity to work with them, I think it's a great place to work and learn.
And what kind of news pieces did you write? So, were there any particular areas?
Yeah. So I think I was mostly originally it was very fashion, entertainment, culture pieces in that sense. And I think myself, by the way, can we speak Urdu or is it just you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So khud se, me of all people asking, can I speak Urdu? You're probably I don't know, okay. Can you?
Is it part of the comedy act, your Urdu?
It could be. I did once have an opening joke that was I could speak it. But could say I was getting a little tired of entertainment. I think that culturally I'd been a bit exhausted by why do I care what this person's doing? And kudos to Arab News. They're all right, let's switch it up. And so I started covering protests. I usually when it had to do with socio-political. So let's say there was something about women's rights or maybe even minority rights, something in that thing, they were happy to send me to go and cover it. And this is where I learned also how to do culture pieces that weren't around a celebrity or an entertainment attachment. So I think one of my favorite stories I ever did is, have you ever seen the Taxila disco leopards?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to do a story on that. I pitched it where I was these disco leopards, they go with these white people all over the world. And you go into a white person, a foreigner's house in Islamabad. they got these big disco leopards. And you're like, what the hell is that? Every Pakistani was like, huh? And they're like, this is Pakistani art. And we're like, we don't know what you're talking about. Turns out it's a huge part of Pakistani art in Taxila. And so that's, getting to do a story like that where it was like fun, but cultural. And then, covering protests, like, for example, when Norma Kadam, her whole thing, her murder and stuff, like getting to cover that was nice. And it showed a trust in me from Arab News that I, appreciated, and it gave me a lot of confidence. So, yeah.
But then since then, you've done a lot of pieces on, things that have been perpetrated against women in this country, also women empowerment, about, how women are treated and how they shouldn't be treated. Those are things that you've written about. So did that sort of start you off that, look, this shouldn't be happening and somebody needs to talk about it?
I think as American Pakistanis, you have this idea. First of all, being an American Pakistani is a very interesting thing because both countries are very like, we're the best. And like, you're not meant to ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how is it different? But anyway, we'll get to
how it's different. I will say surprisingly, the similarity is like the nationalism of it all. And sort of like, we are number one. I mean, Pakistanis, we also are very mean to ourselves because we have earned that right. But, when I moved here, I understood that like going to a fundraiser and a gala and earning money, acha, that happens. Where does that go next? And because we're American Pakistanis, we don't see where that goes next. I come to Pakistan and I had to really look at my privilege, to be honest. And I was like, man, I have not had to think twice. Can I say this? Can I do this? Of course, like, I do talk about like things my parents were like weird about just from the nature of us being brown Muslims. But like, for the most part, I was a little like, I think I need to acknowledge somewhere that like I had a very backwards idea of what Pakistan was, even in terms of how far women have come. I was pretty backwards. Then when I joined Arab News, that is when I became public on social media. My entire time working in fashion, I had private social media, which by the way, don't do that. Please have a public social media. Big mistake.
I know. What's the point of private social
media? So dumb. My aunt was like, you'll never get married. People see this. And I just want to point out my friends who were all posting public married children. I'm like, so I think you had that wrong. And when I got public and, I started tweeting, that was the first one back when Twitter was fun. And I don't think twice. Like, I don't think I was like, my duty is to speak up for Pakistani women. But I think I was just so angry and so appalled. And there was just things that seemed so stupid to me. And so then I would just start saying them. And then slowly and surely this turned into me making videos, like also. And I think no matter what, even in my funny content, when you were saying you were doing a lot of other things, like throughout all this, I became a comedian, by the way. I'm a typical...
I was going to get to that.
Millennial multi-hyphenate. But I think even my comedy or my jokes or my tweets, there's always been a thing of like poking at the culture that like we treat...
It's more satire.
We treat Pakistani girls and women in ways that are like insanity to me, or how we think about how they should live their lives. And so, I've always poked at rishta culture. I've poked at like mommy, daddy, sons who like, don't have to learn or do anything. I've poked at how girls are parentified. You might not even have siblings and you are parentified from a very young age. So it just kind of was a natural progression. And then I think, I don't know, like the angrier I got, because I did get angry, and you're right. I was covering, when you're a journalist, the things you see that you don't even get to report on. Because there's only so much you can report on in a day. And I wasn't a crime reporter, but like if I had been, I think I would have been 24/7. And I think, it just, I don't know, it sparks something in me. Like I've often wondered, like I asked my parents once, like, when did this start in me? When did you notice it in me? And they said, for as long as you could talk, you were pretty much like, that's unfair. And I think I have a very amped up thing about justice. And like, even so much as like, if you're telling a girl child, pick up the dishes while the boy child is like sitting and playing video games, an actual story from my life, rage. Because I'm like, what are you saying in this moment? And what are you perpetuating? And what does the future look like when you literally look at a girl child and go, oh no, that's an extension of the help, or not to put the help down, but you know what I'm saying is like, that's the prince. So I don't know if I'm making sense, but it just feels very innate to me.
But do you think that still happens? Or do you think things have changed a little over time?
I feel so sad when I answer this question because, I mean, I'm sure there are some changes, right? Like, and I think even some of them are just forced by the realities we're living in. Like, you are very content with a certain way of life if you're okay with no woman in your house working, right? Because it's very tough to run a household on a single income these days. And I think, even creepily enough, like the marriage market also is like, well, we want educated girls, even if we won't let them work. So in some ways, society has forced us to make changes, but unfortunately, I think the attitudes we're contending with, are very tough to fight. Like, I feel like in the West, they're seeing this wave of red pill, incel, you know, this like misogyny has become like the hottest thing that you can literally like indoctrinate these young boys and even girls into. And some of us in Pakistan are sitting here and we're like, so our culture essentially in many ways, like we already thought this in many ways. And I've made
with the foreigners.
Yeah, as usual. You know, have you seen that show Love is Blind?
Yeah.
I was like, so our living rooms, essentially, I was like, you basically took our culture, made a show out of it, made millions, and
we didn't think about it.
We didn't even think about it. We were just like, hey, so hey. Like, I met my husband the other day, so whatever. But yeah, I don't know if it's gotten better. Like, I just don't think so. I feel like we take couple steps yappe and then we just go running right back. It is such an easy way to get applause in Pakistan is to like, sorry for bad word, but say just like shit on women. Like, it's such an easy applause. And I think as long as that is a reality, we have a very, very long way to go. Very long way to go.
So the content that you're creating on these subjects, has there ever been an awkward moment or a violent reaction from someone?
Yeah.
How do you tackle it?
So awkward moments, I think when people come up to me and are like, well, you're the one that hates men, right? And I'm like, well, I hate you now. I don't know about all men. Yeah, I'm like, but you for sure. Unfortunately, well, thankfully in person, violence has not taken place and let it not, but I made a video on, I think Sana Youssef was her name. She was recently that influencer who was murdered in her own home by a literal stranger who just felt entitled to her. And on that video, it kind of blew up. And it sort of blew up in India as well, because we share so much in terms of how men treat women online and in person. And I got some death threats that were hideous in nature. The one that like chilled me to my bones, I don't know why, but it was just some guy who went, oh, don't worry, babe, you're next. And for some reason, that one, like, there was something so casual and so ugly about it. It just messed with me. Like, even now when I said it, like, I get chills. FIRs, this and that, worked with DRF, nigga thought and stuff, because I was like, I don't know, man. Like, there needs to be some paper trail, because one of the worst things about being online is, yeah, you know what I look like. I have no idea what you look like, right?
You could be pretending to be somebody totally different.
Exactly. And it's so common that, like, you know, a lot of these, I feel like men who try to, I try to say like they try to honeypot feminists online, is they'll like pretend to be a woman or a girl and like present them with like, I'm in a lot of trouble or I'm this and that. And then like the next thing you know, it's just some man who was like trying to trick you into something. Where I'm like, oh my God, go get a job, go do something else. Like, this is not.
Find some other form of entertainment.
Literally, but they hate women so much. Like, it is, see, that's what I feel.
I don't understand that at all.
And it sounds crazy. Like, last year, somebody said to me, one of my good friends was like, you don't believe people think like this because you could never think like this. It sounds so simple and sort of like a, you know, like a thing like your grandma might say to you, but it's so true, because I would think this is insane that like boys are literally sitting there and being like, we hate women. And then you have a viral tweet about women and you will see boys professing to be 14, 15, whatever, and literally say the most like gut-wrenching, blood-chilling things about girls and women. I mean, there was a viral tweet this man once wrote, which actually, like, to his, like, maybe he didn't deserve all this, but he wrote, like, it's not fair that Pakistani boys get rejected early in the rishta process because they don't make enough money or whatever. So naturally,
we should have that problem.
Yeah. So naturally, all the girls and women were like, really? Huh? That's not nice, huh? And so I chimed in and I was like, let me tell you the 4 like dumbest reasons. One of them was studied abroad. One of them was posted about women's rights. One of them was having a lot of friends. And the last one was father's salary. Naturally, all these incels had so much empathy for daddy's salary. They were like, not right. Leave Baba out of this. But the rest, oh my God, the number of them who said, you cannot trust a girl who studies abroad because you cannot ascertain her purity. And that's me using soft language for it. And again, like, it's not that we don't know people think like this, but you want to believe that they don't. Shocked. Women's rights, they wrote, is another guarantee that they are a loose character. Again, I'm using pretty language for this. And having so many friends, the number of these men and boys, I should say, because a lot of them profess to being teens, being like, oh, so she just has male friends, she's just surrounded by, and I'm like, the inability to like critically think about what you're thinking and saying, you are all revealing so much more about yourselves than anything you could be making women sit back and be like, maybe I won't study abroad and have friends because Ahmed from Twitter won't want to marry me, when it's like, oh my God, maybe I need to get as far away from these type of thinkers as possible. So I often tell women, like, please look at men's social media presence. Like, frankly, if you're in a rishta situation, you should be like, let's swap phones right now.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, before you even enter my living room and eat an egg roll, I need to know
how you think.
Yeah, how you think, because it is insidious and everywhere. Yeah. Positive vibes. Yeah. I'm like, the future is bright.
We are not going to solve this anytime
soon.
So tell me about Auratnak. What is it, and who founded it, and why?
Okay, so Auratnak, I hope I remember the correct founders, but so it started as a feminist comedy collective, I believe, in Lahore. I know one of the persons who taught me stand-up, Hassan bin Shaheen. He is a friend of Katalyst and also great comedian here in Karachi. Nice person. And so he started it with a group of women. Some like Merbana Raja was one of the original ones. Faiza Salim has been in there. And Abdul Baveja. So names you guys know. And the idea was like, there's so many male comedians, and Karachi stand-up culture is quite lively, actually. It's very bustling. And they were like, where are the women? So this was the idea, is that we're going to make a feminist comedy collective where we have women come up from all around and do the damn thing. And so Merbana Raja, I believe she started in Lahore. She was moving to Islamabad. And one day, I keep telling you the story of my life, as people are like, hey, do you think? And I'm like, all right. So I was getting WhatsApps from this person that was like, hey, not to be weird, but I moved to Islamabad. I'm going to some parties. And people have been like, if you're doing this, you need to get Sabah Bano Malik. She's very funny. Now, in my whole life, I've always been the family ham. Like, I can clearly like attention. I had never thought about stand-up. Okay. And so I was like, oh, okay, like, let's give it a try. Life-changing. One of the best things I ever did. I did a few seasons with them. I think like 5 in total. We like sold out Islamabad, took it to Lahore. We had more and more people join. Unfortunately, we got disrupted by COVID. That being said, we did do like fundraisers during COVID, or, outdoors, masks on, everything. I was the most crazy person about COVID. But it was amazing. And I met so many incredible women, so many different stories. That was another one of the very eye-opening things in terms of my feminism, because I come from a background where being a feminist is not pushed against at all. My parents have had to learn a thing or two, but for the most part, they were like, you're number one, you're a daughter, literally, we love you. And then I learned how people really don't have it like that. So Auratnak taught me that, but it's very fun. I don't think it's as active as it once was, just because of the COVID disruption. And then, people have this and that, gotten older, but there are people in the works of like bringing it back now, just as recently as Conversations as this week. Okay. So, and then for me, I've done stand up a couple times in Karachi. Hassan is actually like constantly telling me like, you need to regularly do this because I'll do it once. And if I have like a good night, I'm like, I ride that high for like a year. And if I do badly, I spend the next like 6 months being like, I will never tell a joke again. So, but it's very fun. And I tell all people, everybody, like if you have the opportunity to take like a stand-up or an improv class, like it is such a great way to learn like releasing of shame and like giving a day.
But you know, some people can't tell a joke.
No.
I know you could try and teach me, but I would still not be able to do it. And I would expect people to laugh, and then because of the way I told it, there was no way that people are going to laugh. So I think you have to have some elements of being a comedian, or being able to tell a joke, that people will appreciate. Yeah, everybody.
I'm like, I won't lie. It's definitely like, it's something I had my whole life. Like, I know how to make people laugh, and it is my greatest joy. Like, if I can walk out of a room knowing people, like I made someone laugh hard that day, like I've had a good day. And it's just, I think you're right. Like, I do say that because now that I'm 36, turning 37 soon, and I'm having my midlife crisis now. And I've been like saying a lot, like, what is it that I know how to do? Like, what am I doing?
So many things.
And I think it's talking. That's like that's my top
and writing.
Talking, writing, anything to do with telling a story, which is what comedy really is, right? It's like you're telling, that's my style of joking, is like a story, and then we have punch, and then you have big joke or whatever. And so
can you pinpoint when it all started? Like, when did you know that this is what you do and you do well? Storytelling.
Comedy. So I think I knew as a kid that like I'm funny. Like, my parents are very like, we're a family that like you gotta know how to take a joke.
Do all of you sit together and make each other laugh?
I actually realized, so it's like, I have a sister, my mom and my father, and like, I realized like most dinners, it's just like us three ganging up on him, but like, he's very funny also. So like, and it's, you gotta know how to take a joke. You gotta know how to take a punch and laugh. I'm laughing at the rude things we say to each other. But when I realized like, oh, I can do this, I think was during Worth Knock, because there was some times where I wasn't even a performer. I was like, I'd like to host the show, because I realized I enjoyed so much just like calling an audience member out and like having that interaction where like neither of us prepared for this. Like, I liked doing things like that. And I think there's, even when I was in news, even when I was in fashion, like there is this adrenaline you get when you're like, oh, like from start to finish, like we produced something that like you're putting out in the world and it's doing justice. Even on stories where like no one cared, I was like, I put this thing together. And so now it's like I'm sitting here and I'm like, so how do I pay my bills while I'm telling stories? Yeah. And that's
a question you have to ask sometime.
I ask it daily. I literally look up and I'm like, just a sign or like something, just point me in the right direction. So
yeah. No, so okay. So I think if you know that you're a good storyteller, it often leads to some sort of career that involves storytelling.
Yeah. I think it's just finding the one that's where I'm at. I'm like, let me find the one. Like, I've been told a lot, like, do a podcast. And like, I have,
you're doing a podcast.
And I've literally done all the legwork. I have the mics. And I know I have the interest because I keep asking on Instagram. I'm like, hi, would any of you listen? And they're like, I
think you would be really good at it. If I can do it, you probably can do it 100 times
you're really good at this, because if it's me, we would be on one topic for like 90 minutes and then have to be like, oh my God, we didn't even cover anything we were here. But you're very good at the flow of this, I have to say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, hear that, you guys? Yeah. I don't think I was supposed to do that, but...
No, I love your podcast. I keep shooting to the camera too. Because I have a radio show on Dawn.
I was just going to ask you about that.
The way people listening are going to be like, what is wrong with you? Like, no wonder you don't know what you want in life. Girl, pick something. But it happened through comedy. So basically, did our show in Lahore. Two of my friends in the audience had basically like set up that like they knew their good friend at Dawn was looking for RJs at City FM 89. So they were like, hey, you gotta check out our friend. And I basically didn't know I was auditioning for it that day. And then the next day I get a call that was like, can you just come in for like one last formal thing? And then boom. So I've been on there since 2018.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
7 years.
7 years this December, inshallah. It's like a hip hop R&B show, very much full disclosure with Sabah Bano Malik. And we talk about everything. It can get political. It can be funny. It can be whatever. Like this whole last 2 years, it's been extremely political, of course. And then
And what time is it on?
So it's on 5 to 7 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays. So I'm like rush hour time on the weekends. Just crazy to say 7 years. Yeah. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, I've been working 7 days a week for 7 years and I'm still like, what do I want with my life? I don't know. Like figure it out, dog. Why did I even bring that up? I have no idea. I was just letting you know.
Yeah. I don't know how we came to that.
Yeah. I think I was saying like, that's another place where I realized I really enjoy talking to people. Like when I get to have someone on as a guest, it's like my brightest day. Yeah.
I'm curious. Have you ever gone and spoken at universities and to young people, students younger than you?
Yeah. Thank you. I'm like, to the youths. I have twice. Okay.
And what was that like?
So flattering. I mean, as much as like, I think us women are like, we don't care what they think. It's so nice when
everybody cares.
When a youth looks at you like you're not a loser. Like that's pretty fun. I gotta say, actually no, 3 times. One time I got to speak to little kids like in an elementary school. That was so sweet. Because they were just like radio and music and da-da-da. And I was like, thank God people this young still listen to the radio. I gotta thank their parents. And then it was very cool. I think that I will say Gen Z, Gen A, whoever they are now, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
I love their confidence in a lot. I love the way that they want to go forth in the world and like the attitudes they bring to the work. Like when I was in my last job before the one I'm in now, because I have like a normal 9 to 5 too, because I love money. When I met those Gen Z people and the boundaries they had, I was like, I used to say 33 and Gen Z. I was like, I get it. Like my millennial colleagues would be like, this is not right. And then I was like, girl, they are smart. They have good points. Like they are really, and yet they're still passionate and stuff with boundaries. I mean, our generation, I will say like we work to like, there are no bones left in our body, just ash. Yeah. The talking to them was very cool. I think that only thing I would ever say to like Gen Z, Gen A, whatever they are now, is like they are very afraid of looking like stupid and looking dumb. And I mean, all of us are, but like it's something, good. That's why you're successful. Let me tell you something. If I was not so afraid of not being like the best, I think I would be much further along in life. Honestly, no one would know me. I would have been a millionaire living in a cave with no social media. But there's such a deep fear of looking stupid and stuff. And I want to like beat them is the terrible word to use, but I would love to beat that out of them because I think it's such a hindrance to.
So what are they curious about? What did they ask you? Was it careers in media? Was it fashion? What were they?
I think the career in media, I think would be the most one, especially when it comes to influencing and content creation. I think that was the thing that was of most interest because, I mean, we've seen the success stories. And I would actually say for a lot of Pakistani social media and influencing and stuff has been life-changing because we didn't even know that this was something we could do. And I think it's, as they say, it's like democratic in a sense, because regardless of your background, you might find a platform that can get you somewhere. Whereas we know in Pakistan, upward mobility is extremely difficult. So I think, the most interesting questions, I think, not most interesting, but I would say most common, it would be like, how did you do it? And like, how are you confident about it? That's a question I get a lot. How are you so confident? Which, sometimes I'm like, what do you, how am I so, you call me ugly dog? Like, so, like, especially being plus size, and posting fashion content or stuff like that. And people will be like, oh, or, I call myself hot in my content, which I believe, by the way. I'm not just saying it there. I've had no doubt. And they'll be like, I just wish I was as confident as you. And sometimes I take it with like okay, this is nice. Sometimes I take it as like, see, this is what I'm trying to hammer out of like people, is like to assume that to not be a certain way means you shouldn't post online or this and that is like nuts. Like, just do it. And the same question you asked me, they'll ask me about safety a lot, in which I'm just kind of hoping for the best at this point, honestly.
So fashion. Everybody looks at it so differently.
Yeah.
And you talk about it in a way that I think is more real.
Yeah.
Because fashion means whatever you feel looks good on you. It doesn't have to be defined by someone else.
No. Actually, there was like a few years ago, there was this thing of like, oh no, skinny jeans are back. What are we going to do? Don't wear them.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
I think if I wore them, I wouldn't be able to take them off again.
Yeah. Guess what? Now I will be buried in them. But it's also like, you don't have to do that. Like, hey, you don't have to. Take it from someone who's never looked good in a pair of skinny jeans in her life. And it's silly things like that. And I think when I was posting more fashion and stuff like that, or, I still post outfits on like social media and things. I appreciate you saying it's more real, because I'm just like, the best dressed people are just confident. Like, honestly, I really feel like, if I can have my prime minister lens on for a bit, in schools, I wish we taught that. Like, it is a skill to learn how to be confident and how not to care what people think and how not. But the thing is the world doesn't actually run if you don't have insecure people scrambling for approval at some level.
That many insecure people.
Too many. It sucks, man. Like, sometimes I see the comments on like people's things where it's just like, I wish I could, or I would. And I'm like, you can. And like, there's this thing on TikTok now where lots of like women especially post, like, what's it like being an ugly girl, or like, what's it like being an unattractive person? And here's the thing. Everyone's feelings are valid. I too have sat there and thought like, I kind of look like the cartoon crocodiles that sometimes appear in Disney movies. No. Sometimes from an angle, I'm like, oh my God. That is my doppelganger. I look like a cartoon crocodile. But like, I also feel like it's kind of sad that we tie confidence and look so much together that it's like they're almost paralyzed to do anything for the fear of being perceived as like trying because you're not good looking enough to try. It's crazy.
And why can't confidence be linked to how smart you are?
How smart you are, how funny you are, that you're a good friend.
Why does it have to be associated with looks?
Yeah, because looks come and go. Like, or they don't, like, looks are so subjective. And this is the other thing I tell people is, so sometimes I'm one of like 2 plus size models in the country. So it just goes to show how well our fashion industry is doing, and that both of us haven't worked in ages. But a friend asked me like, cause she herself, someone who works in the industry, was feeling terrible after going to like multiple photo shoots. And I mean, these stunning, beautiful girls women, I should say, that we work with. And I told her that like, and this is not against them. This is just like my experience. Because if people ask me, oh, how are you so confident? I'm like, my idea of beauty was shaped very differently. Like, I was honestly lucky enough, and I hate to say it because they are, culture vulture appropriating monsters, but I grew up when the Kardashians became a thing. So I was in uni with a big old butt and big black hair. And I was like, my God, this is working for me. So like my beauty standards were a little different. And I was just explaining to her that like, it's all subjective, like really, and needing everyone to find you good looking. It's a waste of time. Why? You don't find everyone good looking. And again, why does that matter? The only thing that matters really to me is like if you're funny, if we're laughing in a conversation.
Yeah.
Really.
If you're a good person.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that too. Don't be evil and funny if you can avoid it. Be
sometimes I want.
Yeah. You're sometimes a nasty, like in the villain in a show when they crack a good joke, you're like, hey, you're kind of funny.
Okay, I think we're down.
Yeah. The way they're moving, I think.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you, I was going to share an experience that I always have when I go shopping, right? And every fashion shop that I go to, they say, sorry, we don't have your size.
Yeah.
So by the time I get out of there, I'm so depressed And I often tell them, do you only make clothes for tall, thin people?
Yeah.
What about the rest of us? I walk around and I see a lot of people who are plus size or who are just normal, right? Why don't you make clothes for them?
Yeah.
So what's your opinion about that?
So, as someone who's done plus size modeling, I've had to have these conversations where I'm like, you cannot put me in a ready to wear campaign because we are lying, essentially, right? And to their credit, most of them do put me in unstitched campaigns because unstitched, as we know, means you're taken to the tailor and so. And when I've asked them, I've asked one of our biggest brands, like they used to go up to size 18. I said, why'd you stop? And they said nobody was buying it, which I still have my questions about that. But they were like, it's because after they feel that certain body shapes were going more towards the unstitched route. And by the way, unstitched in Pakistan is big business, big business. So like, I think they do have a point in that, but no, I agree with you. Like, it's very frustrating. Also, I tell plus size people, if you want to buy Western clothes in Pakistan, dream on.
That's what I was looking at.
My sister is 5'8", and in the States, maybe pushing a medium. Okay. Like maybe. Here, she is an extra large in every Western brand. So she's an extra large. And right now, the pants I'm wearing are an extra large US. Like, her extra large pants would be a wristlet on me. I would be lucky if I could loop it through as a looped earring. So it's really frustrating. And so like, even when some people, but fashion's getting more inclusive. Absolutely not. And it's also the body types they make for, right? Because apparently they don't believe Pakistani women have hips or butts or thighs. And like, I'll say this as a person who is part ethnically Punjabi. We got birthing hips. Like, they are there for that. Like, please, there are literally 300 million of us or whatever. So please.
Do you think men have the same problem?
I'm sure.
Buying clothes?
Not as much. I'm sure, because their shalwars are like 14 yards. Literally.
I'm talking about Western.
Western wear? They might. So a lot of my content is like, whack-a-mole. I feel like that's what I do with men most of the time because I'm just like, get it together. But I do have a portion of men who follow me who have spoken to me about the fact that they connect with me on the body image stuff, that like we are both big body people, plus size people. And yes, I say the viciousness that plus size would actually, I would say we face like hatred across the board. Like no matter your culture, no matter your background, if you are a plus size woman, people freaking hate you. If you're a confident plus size woman, they want you dead. But plus size men in desi cultures and subconscious side, the way people speak to them is disgusting. Like they are treated like crap by friends, by family. Add dark skin into the mix, my word. The way they are spoken to, I mean, the kind of stories I've heard, and again, me who like sees a man enjoying his day and I'm like, how do I ruin it? But like this, I was like, my God.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And I doubt.
I think nobody deserves to be treated.
Nobody. And it's a body. Like, who cares? And I honestly, why is your soch this small? And like, I give my parents credit in this, that like, they did not raise me and my sister to be like, ugly, fat, this, that. Trust me, like, I can spot a good looking person for me when I spot them, but like, it's just not the way I think about people. And it's not like something that's going to decide the way I interact with a person. Yeah, like, it's so odd. Like, it makes me think you're stupid. Like, I find people, especially like skin color, body type, I'm like, are you dumb? Like, you are dumb. Sorry, I think you're dumb. There, I'm saying it here, my executive order.
In your behavior.
Yeah.
Okay, last two questions,
right.
Which I have been told I must specifically ask you.
Okay.
One is, what's one main character moment you recently had?
I like this question. What recently had? I think all my moments are main character moments. No, I think I'm trying to think of a good one that recently happened where I was just like, oh wait, like that's not on me. Like, this is not about me. I'm not the center of the universe. But I think like my flight was delayed, and like the way that I so badly wanted to be like flip the table and scream, and then I was just like, there's like 40 other people in this fight. This isn't about me. Like, it's okay. But I think for the most part, I keep it pretty. I don't go too main character.
Okay.
Yeah. I do love fully focused, but that's for entertainment purposes.
Okay. And you're very much a TikToker.
Oh my God, I love TikTok. I literally...
This finally final question is, what propaganda are you absolutely falling for?
What am I falling for? I love this question. I love this trend because I was like, propaganda, I'm not falling for, like the male loneliness epidemic. No, thank you. Okay, then I am falling for literally any viral skin product. Now I tell the youths, I have a disposable income, so you let me spend the money and I'll tell you what to buy. But I'm buy it. Yeah, you can pretty much get me with anything. Yeah, the guarantees. I'm like, I will buy it and I will test it.
Advertising in any form was created for people like me.
I always say this to my sister that like those infomercials in QVC, that was for her. She's like, I must have this, I don't know, it like removes your arm hair with zero pain and will have like 20 boxes.
And she believes it.
Yeah, and she believes it. And
but you know, my dad used to believe all these ads on television. He said, but they said that on television in that ad. I said, they want to sell you something.
My sister would come home from the mall with like the ugliest thing. And I was like, why? And she goes, well, my friend said it looked good. I was like, who's your friend? And they're like, the woman who works there. I'm like, Sarah, she gets a commission. Like, what are we doing? But yeah, that's propaganda I'm playing for. Also, a lot of conspiracy theories. I keep telling my friends, like, TikTok for me has now become like my master's and my doctorate. Like the things I'm learning. If you can like fix your algorithm to be some of the most brilliant women around the world, you will learn insane things. So like I've learned about decentering men. Turns out I'd already done that a very long time ago. Who knew? I lived the brand. Who knew? And just so many other things I've learned from them. So really, and also a lot of like conspiracy on like the way the world runs. And I'm like, now I get why people like sit in their basements with like foil on their heads, like because they really can convince you of things. So far, I'm good. No foil has been purchased, but we are not far away. Let me tell you.
Oh, one final.
Please.
Have you been using AI or ChatGPT? Do you use it to produce comedy?
So, no, I'll tell you, I was one of those, like I told you, I'm very prone to conspiracy. So, one of the first panics that I saw when it came to AI was comedy writers being like, like what? Now, I've used ChatGPT with work. So, for example, if I write something, I might use it and be like, is this American English grammar? Just tell me yes or no. Please do not change it. I literally write please. You have to say please so they don't kill you when they take over. Do not change anything.
Right.
And, but I'm very afraid of learned helplessness that I'm like, oh, I must always turn to this. And I think like, it's cool if it works for other people. It's cool if people can make boundaries with it. I know myself, like I am afraid of that. So like when I moved out of my parents' house and moved to Karachi, I was like, oh, I can do things. Because when I'm in their house, I was like, huh? Like, where are the light bulbs out? You get, I became a baby. And so that's my fear with it. It's like, I just don't want to lose the ability to think. And I don't know, MIT did a study. Did you see the study?
No.
It came out a couple weeks ago where it was, I see one of the producers nodding, where it was like, it is impacting how people think and are formulating. And it's like, it's impacting their ability. Yeah.
I can believe that.
Because it's so easy.
I'm not a strong believer in using.
Yeah.
For research, maybe just quick research, that's it.
Or like, so for example, in my day job, like I work with people in Nigeria. So like sometimes like when Google takes too long to give me my answer, I'll literally be like, what time is it in Nigeria right now? Okay, done. Because I already tried all other pastas. I subtracted 4 hours. I know I can't do mental math. Like that's not a skill I'm afraid of using.
I don't have it.
Yeah, long gone. So, but yeah. And again, like I don't want to judge people. I know there's many people with like ADHD and things like that who have professed to it helping them, but there's also, very real climate implications. There's very real issues happening with these things. And I mean, I think, are you still on Twitter? Do you use it regularly? Yeah.
Not regularly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still on there. I think, I will leave eventually, but because it used to be so much fun in Pakistan. It really did. But they have a thing called Grok. And essentially, people were using it to kind of prove the like anti-Zionist points that were like, hey, BT dubs, like all this news is fake news. And in real time, we saw them adapt Grok to suddenly falsify claims. And so it's like, if we look at AI as you can't tamper with it, it's going to tell you the truth no matter what. It's the real truth teller. We just saw that happen in real time. But if you weren't there for that blip of time to see the falsity take place, in 3 weeks from now, you're going to be like, no, Grok said it, so it must be true, right?
Yeah.
It's so crazy. It's just, I make AI that's like doing my laundry. No, but like even then, I don't want a robot in my house. They're going to turn on.
I have trouble letting the driver drive my car because I prefer to drive it myself. So.
Like, just make it do sewage cleaning.
That's a good one.
You know what I mean? And make it so that the people who currently are in these jobs of extreme harsh conditions become the people that control the robot. And then now you've saved a job and created a job. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
You should tell
when I'm
Wahab or somebody.
I'm like, when I'm prime minister, and they'll let me last like 48 hours before they take me out.
That long.
Yeah, you're right. They'll just let me have my parade, and then they're like, oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good question because it comes up. I say like every day, people bring ChatGPT and stuff.
But this has been so much fun.
I had a blast. Honestly.
Yeah, I haven't laughed this much in so long.
Yay! See, I'm gonna blush. That's like the
happiest. You are a perfect comedian.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy.
I hope to have you back again sometime.
Anytime.
But thanks so much for doing this.
Thank
I'm sure my listeners will enjoy it, and my followership will go up.
I was hoping mine does too. Pay us the bills, follow both of us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.